And we're back. Welcome to our Reach Higher community, where our mission is to encourage, equip, and empower entrepreneurs who desire to better lead and develop their teams from a biblical worldview. I want to first off say thank you for all the support. Last week, Tuesday, had an accident, and thanks be to God, everything went well. No one was hurt. So just want to take the moment just to say really appreciate the community's love and support. And we're now back with our deep dive. By now you should have gotten the second part of the email. So there's a statement in there that was said in that email, and I believe I'm asked Tom to tell us.
Yeah, that statement was make the most of today by making the most of your choices.
Make the most of today by making the most of your choices. So what does that mean? When we think of choices, the act of deciding, it's important for us to remember that those who make the most of their choices have taken time to think through their decisions. They have taken time to form convictions. They've taken time to develop values, get a clear sense of direction of where they're going, otherwise known as vision. And if you ask them what they're about, they'll clearly tell you that this is what I'm about and this is why. They have a North Star known as a purpose. They are driven by purpose. And that's what it means to make the most of each and every day. It means to live intentionally. It means to live with purpose. It means to live from a place of conviction where your values are important.
Yeah, the whole idea of making decisions can be intimidating.
Yes, it can.
If you're like I am, you just, prefer that all of your decisions are made for you so that you don't have to take that risk.
Or the responsibility.
Of making the wrong decision. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that we have to keep in mind that, when we think about indecision, especially habitual indecision,
yes,
it pretty much points to a lack of conviction in some area of your life. There's a reason that you're not settled. There's a reason that you're unable to be determined one way or another. Somewhere along the line, you may have failed to consider what's important. What do I truly believe?
Yes.
What really matters most? You may have not taken the time to consider the importance of purpose.
That's good.
And whenever there's indecision and, it's pointing to a lack of conviction, if you have a lack of conviction, it leads to apathy, which basically means I don't care one way or another. I may say I care. I may say that I want something, or I may say that I'm going to do something.
Yes.
But I'm pretty apathetic about it. I have good intentions, but there's really no motivation behind it.
Yes.
My actions just don't line up.
I remember your statement that the seed of apathy results or leads to stagnation. So that is so true. That is so true.
Yeah, stagnation can be the fruit
yes.
of your apathy.
Yes, the seed of apathy can lead to the fruit of stagnation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because, when you're apathetic, you become complacent. And when you're complacent, you basically do nothing. And you stay in the same place, the same position indefinitely. And that's stagnation. You just sit there not doing anything.
That's true. And these are pitfalls to being indecisive, the lack of conviction, stagnation, even fear of failure, the fear of being criticized, the fear of lack of security, the fear of losing control, or even the fear of rejection. And so because the fear is so great, we choose not to act. And by not acting, it actually causes the indecision to grow even stronger.
Yeah, yesterday, the girls and I went and hung out with some friends of ours, another mother who's part of our homeschool co-op, and our older daughter is really good friends with her daughter. So we hung out yesterday at Disney Springs, and we had plans originally, but when we got there, we realized that those plans weren't going to work out too well. So we had to come up with another plan. So we mothers decided to put the responsibility on the kids to determine, what are we going to do now?
Smart.
Yeah. So we stepped back and we pushed them forward and we said, you're the leaders today. You tell us what to do, you tell us where to go, and we're going to follow you as long as you don't lead us into danger. And I believe it may have caught them off guard because they're so used to us saying, this is what we're going to do. But they were like deer in headlights. Like, what do we do? And I'm like, well, doesn't matter with me. Just do something. And it's amazing. They stood around thinking and looking at each other, not making the decision because they were like, well, I don't know if this is what I should do or what we should do. And we just stood there. We went nowhere. We were in 100-degree heat, just standing around. And so finally I said, just move. Move in a direction. Make a decision, and we're just gonna go with it. And that's life. When you don't make decisions, you stand still. The flip side to that is that when you make a decision, you're set in motion. At least you're moving somewhere.
Definitely, that's the benefit of being decisive, is motion. And motion can lead to momentum. And momentum can be a leader's best friend. There are reasons why we don't make decisions. However, there are solutions. And one of those solutions is whenever we are at a place where we're indecisive, in addition to making a decision, one of the best decisions we can make when we don't know what to do is to ask God for wisdom.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's right here in Scripture. Remember, we do everything from a biblical worldview, so Scripture will be brought up every now and then.
Yes.
And, here's a familiar passage of Scripture, and I just had it.
Is the passage with James?
In James, yes, James chapter 1. I just want to read it. I like to read it word for word. Starting at verse 5, it says, now if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives to all generously and without criticizing, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith, without doubting. For the doubter is like the surging sea, driven and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. An indecisive man is unstable in all his ways.
Well, we don't want to be unstable. We want to be strong. We want to be secure. We want to be stable. We want to be the kind of leaders that others will look at and follow. One of the reasons why people follow us is because of the stability that we bring, the security that we bring. They're able to see our lives, and it's something that's worth following. And so one of the benefits of asking God for wisdom and having it coming from a heart of faith is that when you ask, you open your eyes next and you look around. You're looking for the answer. You're looking to see, okay, Lord, how are you going to answer in giving me wisdom? And one of the ways that we have discovered that God gives wisdom is through Scripture. He speaks to us through His Spirit, but He also speaks to us through others, known as mentors.
Yes. And before we even get into that, I want to point out something. one of the struggles that I've had, over the years has been this fear of making the wrong decision. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, just wanting to make sure that the decision they make is not going to put them in a worse position than they are in.
That's true.
There's this security issue, I believe, that goes on. And that is true, but oftentimes that is a cover-up, I believe, that is used to cover up something a little bit deeper. And when I say a cover-up for something deeper, there's the principle that John Maxwell says in his 15 Laws of Growth. It says it's the law of trade-offs, which means you have to give up in order to grow up. And oftentimes we want to have our cake and eat it too. We don't want to give up something that makes us feel secure in order to get to that next step or that next level. And we have to understand that if we are going to move forward, we're gonna have to let some things go. We have to trade off. We have to trade something which may be good, and may have served its purpose for the moment it was ordained to serve it. But the time for that is up, and we have to be willing to release it so that we can trade it off for something of greater value that's moving us closer and closer toward our destination.
For you to grow, something has to go. For you to grow, for me to grow, something has to go. So even as we think about that, what is it that you're willing to let go? What is it that you're willing to do in order to be more decisive?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we all like our security. We all like our security. But sometimes we're too secure in our bondage. I believe that we have way too much security in our shackles because we're comfortable there. It's familiar. We know it. We're going to have to risk being a little insecure at times.
That's true. Yeah, I recall having to step into a new role. And I remember before stepping into the new role, thinking that, wait a minute here, but this is different from what I've done before. I know what I've done before. I've had success in what I've done before. I'm known for it. However, looking back, I can tell you that it is far better to be comfortable in the unknown than to be comfortable. It is far better to be uncomfortable in the unknown than to be comfortable in the known, because then you have the opportunity to grow. And it's like an elastic band. When it stretches, it goes to another level. And once you've become aware of that growth, you no longer desire to go back to where you were before. So what's the challenge?
Yeah, well, it's simple. Seek wisdom.
Yes.
We start there. Because if you believe God's word like we do, then you believe that when you seek it and you seek it believing that he will give it to you, you will have it. And when you get it, ponder it, get some clarity on it. Seek out mentors. If you don't have a mentor, you're already deprived. Find someone who's walked the path, who knows how to get to where you're going. They could make the journey a lot less painful. I do believe that.
Oh, yes.
We have the privilege of having mentors to help us out. And it's a blessing.
Yes.
But once you've gotten to that point where you've gotten wisdom, you've considered it, it's just time to make a decision. And it's time to just take a step. That's the challenge. Seek wisdom, get the wisdom, and just take a step. Have faith, and then trust God with the rest of it.
Yes. Again, as James said, faith without works is dead. So if you say you truly believe that you can be the best that God has created you to be, then take the next step. Well, that's it for now. We hope you enjoy this deep dive, and we look forward to more deep dives with you. Thank you so much for the comments, and bye for now.
Well, before we say bye, email subscribers, be on the lookout for something this weekend.
That's
actually.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to go along with what we just discussed, but we're going to dive deeper and deeper into it. So
yes.
we look forward to it. And if you haven't signed up yet, you need to go to the link and sign up. All right.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.